Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I will be talking about the basic Windows networking commands that you should know when you are starting in IT or when you are working in IT. So these commands are very helpful when you are troubleshooting especially. So I'm just gonna limit this video for the different Windows networking commands. There's a lot of Windows commands that we use at work, but now the focus of this video is just for networking commands. I will also show you some best practices and the practical use of networking commands at work. So if you're interested, please keep on watching, and without further ado, let's get started with today's video. So let's get started with the most commonly used Windows command there is. Even if you are really not into advanced networking yet, you will most likely be using ping. So ping is used to test the reachability of a host. So the practical use of ping is to see if a machine or device is online or offline. So that's how we often use it at work. We use it a lot. I think I use it on a daily, almost on a daily basis, especially when we are doing some troubleshooting or patching at work. So ping is just easy to use. So open your command prompt in your computer and just type in ping. You can use either an IP address to ping, just like this. So if it's giving you a response like this, you would see that you're getting a reply from the IP address that you are pinging. It means that the machine or device is online. And you would also see here if there's like 0% loss, it means that the device is online or the machine is online. Also, you can ping a host name, not just the IP address. For example, google.com, and it should show you the same result if it's online. You would see that it will be responding to you, and it will have like almost 0% loss. So for example, if you are trying to ping another machine with IP, I'm just making up IP here. So if it takes a while to respond and the request is timing out, that means that what you're pinging is offline. So one practical way to use ping is, for example, we get a ticket where the user is saying that they can't log into a server. For example, we test it if it's online first. Maybe that's the reason why they can't log in. Maybe the server is online. So ping sometimes is the very first thing or the very first command that we run if we are troubleshooting. Also, there's different options for ping, and you can also use that as well to help you with your troubleshooting or when you're doing some IT task. For example, I'm just gonna ping like an IP address. For example, this server I'm patching the server and I have to reboot the server. So you can add a -t, which means to continuously ping a machine, because the regular ping or the normal ping in here, as you can see, without the option, just give us like up to four responses in here and it will end. But if you do this -t and ping continuously, it will keep on pinging until you end it. So this is practically used when we are rebooting machines, so we can monitor and see if the machine comes back up, because for example, it will start rebooting in the middle in here, it will start timing out, and then if it comes back online, we will get another response like this. So just to finish this or end it, if you are done with it, just do Control-C and it will finish pinging. So another option you can use for the ping command is this ping-n and the number of how many hops or responses you want the ping to report. So for example, I'm going to show you again if we open command prompt in here and let us follow this. So I'm going to type in ping Google, for example, google.com again, -n, and for example, I want 6 counts in here. And when you run this command, it will give you 6 responses because you specified 6 in here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's also an option if you just want to like specify like the number of responses that you want to get. Okay, so another very common Windows command that we use is ipconfig, and this displays all current TCP/IP network configuration values. So the basic ipconfig commands will display your IP address. That's a good way to find your IP address if you're looking for an IP address of the machine. You can just type in ipconfig in here, and then you would see the IPv6 address, IPv4 address. Also, if you need the other information such as subnet mask, default gateway, you can also find it here. So it gives you the basic, very basic IP information that you want. So just like the other commands, ipconfig also has different options that you can use. One of the most common options that we use for ipconfig is the ipconfig/all. So this also shows the DNS and DHCP server, the MAC address, and the lease information of your machine. Okay, so I just have my command prompts here back to back so we can compare the difference between the ipconfig and ipconfig/all. So for example, I'm just going to type ipconfig/all. So as you can see, there's more information in here compared to just the ipconfig command. So this will show more information, just like your host name. Also, if DHCP is enabled, it can also show you your MAC address, which is called physical address in here. Also, the DNS servers, DHCP servers and DNS servers will be shown in here as well. And also what's important is if you have DHCP, it will also show when the lease will expire in here. So there's more information in here. If you're looking for that kind of information, just use the ipconfig/all command. Okay, so another option for ipconfig is the /release. So this is to reset or refresh your network settings. So this is more of like a troubleshooting command, and we use this if we are getting like network connectivity issues on a computer. So what we do is if they are on DHCP, we use this command. So this really don't work with the static IP address if that's what's set in your machine. This is gonna work for DHCP. So because DHCP server, as we know, it gives out temporary IP address to all the computers. And if you're having connectivity issue, you can request for another IP address. So sometimes that fixes the connectivity issues. So if you want to request a new IP address, you have to release your existing IP address first for your computer, and this is the command that we should use. So after typing in ipconfig release, we should do the ipconfig renew, which is requesting a new IP address from the DHCP server. So this is going to give you a new IP address and hopefully resolves your connectivity issues. So we should always use the ipconfig release and renew in tandem. Okay, another option for ipconfig is ipconfig flush DNS. This is also commonly used to troubleshoot network connectivity issue, and not only that, we also use this sometimes if we are getting 404 error or we can't access a website, because sometimes, for example, if we cached in the DNS records for a website and they change like the domain name for some reason, we can clear our cache because this command clears the IP address or DNS records from your cache. So we can clear that and we can resolve the DNS issues. So this is mostly used if you are having like website issues. Okay, next is a very simple command and very straightforward command. So we have this get MAC in here, which just grabs the MAC address of your machine or computer. So it will show you the physical address that you have for the machine, and that's all it does. So if you just need the MAC address, you can get this instead of ipconfig/all, because that will display like a lot of information that we don't need. So this is just a very simple command for that. Next, also very straightforward command, just like get MAC hostname just displays the name of the computer. So this is just very simple command if you want to know what the machine name is. Okay, so the next would be nslookup. It's a very simple command. What it does is it just translates IP address to the domain name and vice versa. So for example, if we use it in the command prompt, nslookup, and you're going to provide the domain name, for example, google.com, and it should give you like an IP address of whatever it is that you typed. You can also do it with a IP address. So for example, nslookup 8.8.8.8, and it should give you the domain name of what the IP address is. That's one of the IP address of Google. So in the workplace, we use it if we want to know what the IP address of a server name, for example, or a domain name is, and vice versa. And the last command for our video today is tracert. It's short for trace route. So it's displaying possible routes and measuring transit delays of packets across an internet protocol network. So I'm going to show you what tracert looks like. So we can type tracert in here and hostname or IP address, for example. So let's do google.com, and then it's going to show you all of the hops that the packet is going through, all of the routers that it is going through. And for example, if there's like an issue or a delay, you would see in here that it's going to drop the packet. And then when it's done, it's going to show you trace complete. So this is used for troubleshooting like network issues as well, or like communication over routers, because sometimes you would see it drop the packet on like certain hops in here, and you could check if the router has issues where the packet was dropped. So it's also one of the very commonly used networking command in Windows. Just like the other commands, tracert also has options that you can use. So we can also specify the number of hops that we want to see or display in our command. For example, you're going to type tracert, and -h means hop, number of hop, and just type the number of hops that you want. For example, just 5 hops, and the IP or the host name. And then if you run the command, you should only see 5 hops for this, and the trace should be complete. Okay, so that would be it for today's video. Those are the basic Windows networking command that we often use at work. I'm sure there's more commands for networking there, but these are the common ones that I always use on top of my common ones that I could remember on top of my head that we often use at work. So hope you guys learned something from today's video, and I hope to see you guys in my next videos. Thank you so much for watching.